Hello, everybody, and welcome to Norm, the Cheers podcast that isn't. You got Dave, you got Tookie. There's also Mike. We're all here. We had a nice time chatting about things that I didn't feel comfortable about on camera before the podcast. Oh, if you guys could have only heard. Woo! There are some songs from the 70s that are not okay in the Dorval household, and I'll let you guess which ones.
Oh, we'll
All
put
right.
that behind the paywall. That's paywall content.
Yeah, that's our Patreon.
There it is.
Mm-hmm. Wait until you hear the Patreon conversation. Holy shit.
The spicy feed.
All right. We are here in the new year of 2023, the year to be for you and me. We are talking about season 5, episode 12, Diane, the dancer. I'm woefully unprepared this week. I'm sorry.
Dance,
Diane, dance.
Oh boy.
It's funny. I watched it enough, and I have definite opinions and thoughts about it. But for whatever reason, my note taking was for shit this week. Sorry about that. But we're here, and I thought it was a good episode. I enjoyed the episode quite a bit, and it was interesting because I didn't even think about it until the second time I watched it, how important this week's episode is for foreshadowing the season finale.
Absolutely.
This year. Yeah.
Ooh.
Really came into play.
Ooh.
I know we're going to delve into everything, but I did want to spend a little time talking about it. We have the scene at the end of the episode. Look, if you're watching this, I'm just going to assume that you've seen this episode. And we're going to do our whole thing. But it really hit me, like, as I rewatched this morning. This wistful look that she gives at the end of the episode when she realizes, oh, this dream is not coming true. And I thought it had a chance of coming true. And I know we've talked about how we've been wistful endings this season. And in the past, in general, it was a time in the 80s where people were not afraid to end a sitcom on a slightly melancholy note. And I didn't really think about the importance of it until today, the foreshadowing of why it's important for Diane to try and write that novel when she leaves Sam at the end of season 5. It is, and because she references it in the episode, I was dreaming of being a dancer and I gave that up to focus on being a novelist. Oh my God, my dancing dream might be alive. And then that gets dashed against the rocks. And now being a novelist is what she has left. And it was, oh my God, I didn't even realize that the writer's room was really getting ready for that moment and preparing the character and preparing all of us for what was coming and why she felt like she needed to leave and why Sam felt like she needed to leave. Why that was important enough to him to say, look, I really think this is going to be something that you regret later on if you don't do it. So, yeah, it was a moment that did not strike me until I watched it that second time. Did you guys have feelings about it?
I had a similar feeling, like thinking back to Thanksgiving Orphans too. Like it really, all of that DNA kind of connects this season really nicely. Oh my God, my dog's pulling out all the poop bags from the leash. I'm gonna give him a beating.
Oh no! Come get
goof.
him. Go get him.
Oh, I think he's given up now.
Okay.
But that moment when Frasier, I think, says, we're all just like basically a bunch of losers, a bunch of like kind of orphans who who've sort of found themselves together, not by any sort of like, we're not here because the world is turned in our favor, but because we've sort of ended up here. And I was like, oh, this is, yeah. And there's one character in this whole cast who, given the opportunity to find an escape hatch, is gonna take it. Like, no, like it's so it's the scene with Norm couldn't make it any clearer. That really lovely sort of late night scene. Like, he is not going anywhere. This is not part of who Norm is. Like, none of these characters are moving anywhere. Only Diane has the opportunity and the sort of energy and the mental kind of focus to be able to break out of this, because she's already done it twice probably.
Yep.
Ooh, fun random aside thing for our viewers. I have a bunch of friends who are self-proclaimed astrology hoes, HEAUX, and I posited the idea to one of them. What if we figure out. So I think she's going to try and do that. The astrology of the cast of Cheers, of these characters.
Oh, nice. I'm excited for that.
I like that.
Since we're coming up on the Lunar New Year, and
Mhm.
in Chinese astrology, it's the year of the rabbit. So I figured, let's figure that out. That'd be fun. Side
Strong
project.
call. I like it. I like it. All right. Let's get to the basics here. Dave, what was going on in the world when Diane Dance came into our lives?
Well, interesting. We were just talking about 80s music. The number one song in America this week, I believe making its first week out of 4 at the top of the charts, is their only number one hit, The Bangles, with, of course, one of the quintessential 80s, weird 80s hits, Walk Like an Egyptian.
Ooh.
Another song, we talked about questionable, stereotypical ethnic portrayals within songs. This one, I think, kind of like skirts it. It's clearly the songwriter talks about how he was sort of inspired by watching people on a ferry try to keep their balance. And it sort of reminded him. Yeah, like the ferry was rocking and he saw people like holding their arms out to hold them to not fall. And the writer Liam Sternberg sort of wrote in his journal, "Walk Like an Egyptian," and that became this sort of quirky song that was a massive hit for the Bangles, who were coming out of a scene which I didn't know about, called the Paisley Underground scene in L.A. The sort of like jangly power pop with some like sort of country rock underpinnings to it. They were the biggest success story out of that movement, and this was their biggest hit, and also the thing that probably caused them to break up 3 years later. Caused a lot of strife within the band. 3 out of the 4 members sang lead on the song. The drummer, Debbie Peterson, was supposed to sing lead, but the producer hated her voice on the song. Pulled her off to backing vocals. She doesn't even drum on the song. It's all drum machine. She felt the other Bangles didn't stick up for her. It basically caused some seeds of dissension within the band. And like I said, they broke up in '89. They've since reformed and seem to be in a better place with each other. But kind of a classic weirdo '80s hit. Like it's just a quirky, weirdo little song, and I kind of love it.
It's still got a good beat.
It really does. And they can sing. Like the Bangles,
Bangles are a talented band.
Great band, could totally sing, could totally play. Weird, I thought that they insisted on using a drum machine for this. It seems like this producer was kind of like nudging them in a weird direction, and I think the Bangles kind of faced that going forward, trying to sort of shape them as a little bit more of like a Sex Kitten-y band behind Susanna Hoffs, as opposed to like this power pop group, which is really what they were, and a democracy. They used to insist on 4 spotlights on stage, so each one of their members could be high lit.
Love that.
But the record companies kind of wanted them to go in a different direction, and it ended up sort of, I think, kind of pulling them apart in the end. So one more tremendous band ruined by the patriarchy. Thanks, the patriarchy.
Damn.
When Prince has a crush on one member of your band, it's not easy on the rest of the band.
That does cause some issues.
Oh, Prince was in. Oh God, of course Prince.
Oh yes.
Lord bless.
Prince. Yeah, Prince had a big crush on Susanna Hoffs and wrote Manic Monday for her, which of course became a big hit.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Huge album.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, Prince. You gotta watch that power, man. You had too much. You couldn't throw it around so willy-nilly.
You got fingers in a lot of pies. Had Prince.
Oh.
All right. Let's pretend that didn't happen. Tookie, you want to tell us about the cold open, please?
Sure. This one was a bizarre one to me. A little short and sweet, but so it goes. So everybody in the bar is watching a football game. I couldn't quite decipher which team was playing, but they're watching a football game. And the TV kind of goes on the fritz, and everybody's like, oh. So Sam's like, hey, Woody, jump up there and fix the TV again, will you? So Woody climbs up to turn the knob, but like he's hanging off of the the stand, the little platform that's holding the TV up to the wall, the mount, if you will, and then he just ever so slightly turns it, and then the picture's perfect as he's hanging up there. Everybody's like, it's perfect, don't move. And then Cliff is like, nope, just a minor adjustment. So he goes up and props Woody's leg up on a bar railing, the rail that you put a drink on, and then stays there. And Woody's like, sure hope this game doesn't go into overtime. Roll credits.
I enjoyed this cold open, and it was my 80s moment of the week. Because this was really the end of this era of TV adjustment. This stretch between like 85 and 88 was when almost everybody I knew got cable. There was definitely a decent chunk of people in the early to mid 80s who had gotten cable, but it wasn't ubiquitous. And there were still a ton of people who had an antenna and you had to play with it. And yeah, the cruel irony is whoever actually had to adjust it often got trapped there because a human being became an additional part of the antenna that made the picture quality even better.
We do conduct electricity, so.
This one hit very close to home. Yeah. I think this was just before your consciousness. I don't think you ever personally experienced this in the way that Dave and I did.
Like the injustice of having to be the TV adjuster?
Well, just the injustice of having to be that person, but also just the practice of like the fine art of antenna adjustment and believing that you were always 2 millimeters away from perfection. Thinking that something better was out there. That was the torture of being a TV viewer pre-cable. Yeah. This sense that if you just moved these two metal wires a little bit more, you'd have a better experience that evening. It was a challenging time.
I remember
that seems really terrible.
It
wasn't good. How do you think about what cable is? We actually had to string up cable all over the world. Think about how labor intensive that was.
Yeah.
And the only thing that made that bearable was how fucking shitty the alternative had been for 50 years prior. Like, cable was not a simple process. The alternative had to be terrible.
Oh, I'm horrified.
Yeah, that was life.
Oh my God.
Remember adjusting the little screws in the back where you would like attach those like Y clips?
Yeah, the prongs. Yeah,
the prongs that ran up to your rabbit ears.
Tighten them up. Yep.
I mean, I clocked adjusting a TV as a bygone moment too. I just didn't realize how bad it was.
It was bad. It was bad. It was not simple. No. It was awful. And as for the football game, I watched it a couple of times trying to pick. The challenge of picking out a game in 85, 86 is there was actually a lot of football happening at that time because you didn't just have the NFL, you didn't just have college football. The USFL was also in existence at that time.
Oh.
So this could have been a lot of teams. Okay. As I looked at it, you had white uniforms and you had what appeared to be like a burgundy uniform. So there's a chance it was BC Notre Dame. There's a chance it was the 49ers. And there was, I guess, a chance the USFL team jerseys kept changing. But the Boston team was the Breakers, which they had blue uniforms. So I don't think it was USFL. But I did want to give you a little USFL shout out during this brief stretch that they existed before Donald Trump ruined them.
That's what happens to me, huh?
Number 75 on the long list of things.
I don't know if it's that high, but that's a long list, dude.
Well, if we're going to go individual familial relationships, absolutely not.
All right, let's get into this. There's a brief, mini, tiny B story about Cliff's car. That he somehow bought a little Italian job that they called an Alfredo. And I was expecting a joke to follow that, but everyone just sort of accepted that. So, yeah, I don't know if they just couldn't name, if they chose not to name an Italian car because they had car sponsors or what, but Cliff bought an Alfredo. And he is selling his 65 station wagon and we're trying to put it on the bulletin board, and there's a picture of a Rolls Royce and saying it's the Rolls Royce of station wagons. And all I could think now, too, was a 65 wagon would actually be a nice collector's model today. Like, I would love to see what Cliff's... I remember seeing Cliff's station wagon in the episode where he took Diane out. And I remember thinking at the time, I'm like, oh, someone would love to have that today.
Jay Leno.
I'm sure Jay has one. Oh, you know what I would love? Have you ever seen a Chevy Nomad?
No.
Oh, those are great. Look those up. Those are cars. They're not that common. They're really cool. They were these two-door station wagons that looked so badass. They were
station wagon coupe?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I know it sounds weird.
I'm skeptical.
If you look at them, they're awesome. They are awesome. You look at a really nicely restored, like funky Chevy Nomad. Oh, they're badass. They're
cool. That design kind of reminds. What's that Dodge model car that I couldn't stand? Because it looked like what if a hearse and a station wagon had a short child? I couldn't stand that Dodge model, but it was around, and Car Bros got it in lieu of a Subaru.
Was this a recent model?
Oh, like in the past, within the 2000s.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know they did have a station wagon come out. It was not. Chevy Nomad. Yes. Look at those. Those are awesome. Oh, I love those.
Delicious.
Isn't that great? Look at that. Don't give the Chevy Nomad that look. The Chevy Nomad deserves better than that askance view. Oh, they're awesome. Station wagons got unfairly judged. They are better than any SUV out there right now.
But it looks
they
like
are useful. What I believe you meant to say heaven?
No, it looks
like heaven?
No. It looks
like the car Jesus would drive the apostles in?
Absolutely not. That was a clown car. We all know it. It looks like one of those oldie Cadillacs. It looks like it wants to be that, but it's a station wagon.
It's great. It's a Cadillac station wagon. It's so good. Dave, click on that orange and white one.
What?
Orange and white one?
Yeah. The orange and white one. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know.
Oh, look at that. That looks great. Dave, tell me you wouldn't love that.
I mean, that's a pretty sweet ride.
That's a sweet ride.
I would want it in a different colorway. How about that? Different color.
Yeah, I've been kind of like on a personal like crusade. I've seen a lot of like Twitter stuff about like, you know, the death of design vis-a-vis cars and like people complaining about, and I'm like, whatever. Like, I feel like fuel efficiency is probably like a more pressing concern than design. And I tend to like kind of like poo-poo it, but looking at something like that, I'm like, that is really unique and beautiful in its own way.
I guess I'm not enough of a dad yet.
We'll get you there.
I don't know if I'm enough of a dad yet to appreciate it.
It'll happen.
It's a natural process. Don't fight it.
Yes.
We're still easing you into your cargo pants. You'll get there.
I know. All right. There's hope.
All right. So that was the tiny little B story. The A story. Diane wants to be a dancer. It starts with her wondering, they need an excuse to get Diane out of the bar. She's wondering if she left her oven on. That's a whole thing. Finally, she leaves. They get a call that Madame Likova is going to be dropping off a videotape and an assessment of the said videotape. It is actually her assistant who drops it off and delivers frightening lines about Madame Likova, where at first she is mistaken for Madame Likova. She says, "Oh, how Madame Likova would laugh if you said that in front of her. And then she would strike me," which was my joke of the week as well, because I've known dance instructors like this Madame Likova. So yes, it is real, and let's change that. Anyway, moving on. So she gets a terrible assessment from Madame Likova about how awful a dancer she is. The guys read it. They're feeling bad for her after they laugh at her videotape, which they watch on the Miracle of VCR. They're laughing at it. They're feeling bad. Frasier decides that he's going to rewrite this because what harm could it do?
Frasier.
Which is the sitcom trope that makes every sitcom work.
Oh,
What's the harm? He's going to rewrite it because she's too old to dance anyway, and it's just going to make her feel better, and it was just something she was trying. Diane comes back, gets the fake letter saying soul of a dancer. Had she but started younger, she could have had a career in dance. All this wonderful stuff. She is touched and thrilled by this, but also a bit melancholy because of fucking Frasier, of course she is. Which leads me to the question, did Frasier know this was going to happen? Because you write that down, if only you had started earlier. It's like, just give her a nice review. When you put that in there, it's going to make someone go, oh, what I could have been. Like, yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
You could almost see him like trying to like put up a guardrail with the average flexibility grade.
Yeah.
So she is thrilled but sad. Oh, she is so wondering what to do about this. And then she decides it's not too late. I have to follow my dream, damn it. Locks Norm into the aforementioned bar. She comes in. We're in the next scene. She's in her leotard. She has sent her tape off to Boston Ballet, but they sent it back to her. They don't review, so she's going to go and get checked out. And they try to talk her out of it in very sitcom-y ways. She leaves. She goes to the audition. Sam and Frasier go in there. She is delivering an impassioned speech to the director about how she must dance. Finally, somehow, the guy says, all right, I'm going to let you dance, which is not going to happen. But I'm going to let you dance. She's getting ready to dance. Sam comes out, tells her the truth. He leaves. She does a very funny, never mind. Leaves. We think we're going to leave on that very funny line, and then the wistful look back at what might have been. And it was really a heartbreaking moment, whereas Diane has to let that dream die. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad. Yeah.
It bummed me out.
Yeah.
Can't lie, it bummed me out.
Yeah, but needed to be there to justify the leaving in Adieu.
Yeah, Cheers does that moment made me obviously kind of reminded me of Sam looking out the rainy window at the hospital from earlier. It's something I realized that Cheers does really well, and I think it's kind of why it's got the staying power, because it the temptation is always to leave on the laugh, to cut on the joke, and they do that plenty of times. But there's plenty of other times where the episode chooses to give us like one little extra soupçon of humanity. Like even a couple of weeks, was it last week with Woody and Beth?
Yeah.
Like to make sure that we got one extra like scene where we actually get to see Desiree as a human being, with agency and some depth. It's easy to cut around that stuff, I feel like, and Cheers kind of continually leans into it, and it makes for it. I think maybe that is what kind of makes it endure. At least it becomes memorable in a way that if it's all just sort of like laugh cut, it becomes a little more disposable.
I would like to think that other than the gradual flattening of Cliff, none of the other characters get, or even like minor characters like Desiree from last week, get, as the term goes, flanderized in an extreme way over the course of the series.
Can you explain flanderization to anyone who might not be familiar with the term?
Yeah. Because I happen to be betrothed to a Simpsons purist / enthusiast, and flanderization is I guess like to simplify the explanation, is Ned Flanders used to be a lot more 3D as a character on The Simpsons, Homer's neighbor, who high diddly ho diddly neighborino, aggressive youth pastor energy, and over time, rather than like having more depth to him, he's just sort of become flattened as this bumbling, super religious, odd talking, just 2D, like even more 2D than a cartoon could be. Just his character has no more depth to it. He's just become, it's just, he's a trope of himself, basically.
Yeah, we see some of that happening with the Cliffy.
Yeah.
Cliffy is moving a little QAnon.
A little
bit there.
The cell is in.
It's there. But I
Yeah.
thought this was overall a strong week. I thought it was a well-written episode. I thought it was a well-performed episode. It's always good to have a lot of Shelley
Hmm.
as we start to get ready to say goodbye to Shelley.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
It was also nice. Like I felt like we've seen the episode plenty of times. Like even as recently as the poetry episode, where the you know the mix up is set up as like a way of getting back at somebody. You know, it's like vaguely cruel or trying to get, or at least establish some sort of like dominance over someone, usually Sam over Diane. This one is genuinely spurred by feelings of compassion for Diane. You know, Frasier and Sam are trying to, you know, they do a terrible job, but they're trying to preserve her. Especially even in the face of everybody making fun of her. I mean, Sam even stops the videotape, you know, during the first go round. This really does come out of like, this is a mix up that's born out of affection, and I don't think we've seen a ton of that.
Yeah, no, it's a fun one. You see the sentiment, you see what she means to everybody.
Yeah. Oh man, no, I'm just getting sadder.
Yeah,
It's a sad episode.
I'm getting sadder.
I mean,
it's wistful.
is there anything sadder than George Wendt sitting at a bar saying, "I don't have dreams; they are just going to disappoint you"?
Oh my god.
There's some dark elements this week.
But like, again, like the Flanderization, like that doesn't seem like overdoing it. Like that seems pretty true to who we've come to understand Norm to be, and the way he plays it doesn't seem like it's over the top. It's like, no, this is kind of what my core belief is at this point. And it's sad, but it's also you can track that journey for that person's life. It doesn't seem out of the question.
There you go. All right, let's move through some categories here, and we'll talk more about the episode. Tookie, your joke of the week, please.
Joke of the week is Woody watching Diane's tape. Everybody watching Diane's tape behind her back, and he goes, "Oh, why is she hopping around like that?" Was it Norm who goes, "She's dancing, Woody," and he goes, "Get out!" Just the get out. I don't know why. Just the way Woody Harrelson delivered that got me.
The sincerity of that, yeah.
Yeah.
That delivered that showed you what was on the tape that we could not actually see.
Yeah.
Dave, your joke of the week.
I mean, never mind. It's just perfect. It's so. I mean, I part of me wants to give it to. I mean, that Norm joke too. When they're watching the tape, and you know, she says it's always been my dream to. I always so wanted to dance badly or whatever. And Norm says,
I've always wanted to dance so badly.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant. But never mind to like. After that impassioned speech, which also featured another runner-up, which is as she's unveiling the accompanist and the director to watch her, she says, "Pay no mind to what my arms and legs are doing." I mean, that's incredible. That's like the hubris and the belief that's behind that is incredible.
Yeah. It reminds me of every comedian who's like, "Look, I'm not the best joke writer.
Man.
Ignore the jokes."
It's all about what's up here.
Yeah.
Dave, your 80s moment.
Oh man, I'm gonna go with a hardwired VCR, like a machine that you had to run hidden cable through a ceiling and down a wall into a hanging TV. That to me, that will never come back again.
And, you know, I couldn't help but think about that moment, too, where it's like the VCR in Sammy's office that somehow shows out here, where it's like, you know, they just didn't want to add a VCR to the TV and have that have to exist. So they pretended that somehow this bar that hasn't figured out anything above an antenna with a man hanging off of it has had wires run through the ceiling into the back of the TV from Sam's office that is also apparently running a separate TV, which would justify the presence of a VCR in Sam's office. It's like, okay, none of us knew how VCR technology worked. Really. in the mid 80s to justify that being how they showed that on the TV.
I immediately started thinking like there have got to have been at some point in this bar some sort of like bachelor party where some just like some tape of ill repute was played on that office. Like this is not a virginal TV. This TV has seen some stuff.
Yeah, it's been through some things. Tookie, your 80s things, please.
Not a ton this week. Like I said, I clocked adjusting the TV like that as a bygone, a necessary evil. Posting a car ad like such. Just people still post bulletins, but just that kind of car ad that Cliff was doing. I'm like, we've got Carvana, we've got the Carfax. Not as much of a thing anymore. Easily forging a report like that. The way Frasier was able to kind of forge Madame Likova's report. Just the fact that like you can go in and change some things and not have it questioned. Whereas we have harder records of things now and digital records and also digital timestamps that show edits. So yeah, can't really do that
so much harder on the sitcom today.
Yeah. And then I know Tupperware pots are still a thing, but talking about burping your Tupperware to seal in the freshness.
Not the ubiquitous comedy bit that it was in the 80s. Yes,
Right.
not as common. It still
Right.
exists, but yeah.
Right.
That was go-to.
Are we still having the parties?
Absolutely.
Are people still gathering over Tupperware?
I think so. I think it's a small pocket of the population, possibly like stay-at-home moms, military wives, and such, who throw just parties for selling things in general. That's still definitely in existence, but burping your Tupperware isn't.
It may just be the circles I run in, but I swear I've heard way more about I have a sex toy party to go to
Yeah.
than a Tupperware party to go to.
Yeah.
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 I got another invitation.
Yeah. I've been invited to. I attended one because I'm very much a like, hey, do it, see what it's like. Better to live with the oh well than a what if. Not for me. But yeah, no, I didn't buy anything. Learned some things, but I'm all set. I did it once. Don't need to do it again.
Mm-hmm. There you go. There's one thing. Like, it's such a stereotype to be like men do this, women do this. But I will say this: no male has ever had that party or attended that party or has ever even thought about throwing that party. Mm-hmm. That is an exclusively female activity.
Wait, so you're saying you've never thought about getting like you and me and Dylan and Oren and Jeff and Luke in a room and talk about fleshlights? Like that never crossed your mind?
Look, I'm not saying it didn't occur to me. I'm saying I wouldn't do it.
Can you imagine?
You've drawn a line in a different spot from where it actually exists.
Some of our viewers are going to have questions.
Can you imagine the amount of non-eye contact that would be made at that particular gathering?
Oh my
Just
God.
Staring straight ahead, middle distance.
Just at some point being like, oh God, we have to start talking about the NBA again. This is a terrible decision. Hey, which NBA point guard does this fleshlight remind you of?
Oh, no.
Which one do
Tell
you
me
think
this
Josh
isn't
Giddey
Mark
uses?
Price.
Oh boy. Oh, real quick. The abusive Russian ballet instructor. Is that a meme? Was that a meme of its time, you suppose?
I mean, I think I don't know about Russian ballet female instructors specifically, but I think the cruel dance teacher is a meme that exists because it is true.
And definitely like that sort of like Eastern European sort of Svengali like my system is the system.
Yeah.
I think is a it's definitely a real character I saw pop up over theater history.
Yeah.
Especially in like the 1800s and going into the early 20th century. So I think that's a real thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a meme in that it was used a lot, but not a meme in the sense of, hey, let's make up this thing that doesn't actually happen. It's kind of like saying ice cream is yummy is a meme, as opposed to like, this is just something that we all kind of universally accept as a fact.
Yeah. So it's not a meme in the Niagara Falls sense. It's just sort of like art imitating life.
I think that is how I would categorize it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Tookie, how white was this week's episode?
Well, speaking of, I was just about to say, every dance instructor I've had has been a genial white lady. So I've managed to avoid.
Well, that's nice.
I know. I've managed to avoid a lot of the drama. Other than being told I should not do point in ballet because my ankles might not support my weight. So, aside from that, this episode, it tried. It tried. I think we're past the days of really packing it in to the bar because let's see. In the cold open, we've had a black woman at the table with a black man who was standing kind of behind her near the bar, an Asian man seated at the bar. In scene 1, a black man at the bar, a black man in the hallway who enters, a black woman on the phone. I believe she's a reused extra though. And a Asian woman by the jukebox, a black man and black woman in the upper booth. Scene 2, a black woman who comes out of the bathroom because everybody else is reused as an extra. And scene 3, a Latino man. I interpreted him as a Latino behind Diane. Scene 4, obviously, is just Norm and Diane, so no one. And scene 5, a black man in the upper booth, a black woman who passed in front of the bar, and a black man sitting at one of the upper booths. And in scene 6, it was just the ballet dancer, so none. So I believe that is 13 total. We're kind of have to settle for numbers in the teens, man. I had high hopes because there were so many episodes, pockets of episodes with like, 20 something, and not a lot of reused extras.
Yeah.
So casting budget might be trimmed a tad.
Yeah, maybe it's as they were trying to figure out if they could offer Shelley enough money to stay. Let's start saving some money in other places to see if we can offer it to Shelley.
A lot of repeat extras we've seen, or I spotted.
Noteworthy too, like not a single dancer of color, which I don't think I'm not going to blame that on Cheers necessarily, but perhaps more of the
time
dance culture and the time. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Misty Copeland, breaking barriers.
Woohoo, Misty Copeland.
Yeah.
Yay. I've never seen ballet live. Have you guys ever seen? I've only seen kids recitals. Have you ever gone to the ballet?
Mm-hmm.
Once, I think I was taken to see the Nutcracker when I was very young, and I think I fell asleep because I am an uncultured lout.
No, the best. One of my favorite moments, I just haven't figured out how to turn it into a bit for the stage, but one of my favorite moments came when we went to see the Nutcracker, several years ago. I want to say like end of 2016, maybe winter 2016. And we're enjoying it, right? Everybody in the theater is having a good time, but we are sitting in front of, like, directly behind us is this like just up and down Dunkin' Donuts townie couple. And Act 2 is when a lot of the solo pieces happen in the Nutcracker. And at one point, one of the dancers does the thing where she lifts her leg all the way up above her head. And the guy, the husband of the couple, he's like, good job, Kim. Like, in the most enthusiastic towny way. And I'm like, the most Boston way to appreciate the ballet. And his wife was like, Cheryl, calm down. It was very funny. It was very, very funny.
Good for
But I think about that guy at least once every business quarter.
Nice.
It's like that's the same cheer you give to, like, I don't know, like Mark Loretta for drawing a walk in the fourth inning.
Yeah. It was just
That's
so
beautiful.
full. Yeah. Good job. Good job.
Good job.
God.
He was getting out there and supporting the arts. I respect it. Respect. All right.
Yeah.
I think we were putting this episode to bed. It was a straightforward episode, but I thought it was good. It was well written, well performed, well done. I liked it.
Loved the look. I thought the way they shot the dance stuff in the last scene was just perfect. Like
it was very nice.
The depth, like the room looked great. I love that they captured the sound of that room. Like that, I thought they really kind of nailed that last beat. And the size and space of that room and lingering on Shelley Long in that room.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like really added to that. Yeah. Like it was something seeing her have that moment outside of the bar.
It was nice. It was nice. I wonder where they filmed that because it looked like the Schubert, but a lot of things look like the Schubert.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I didn't see any info on it.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine they filmed it. I'm sure they didn't fly everybody out there. It's probably like the Pantages or something. They got that for a day in LA. But it looked right.
Yeah. It looked right. Like an old Boston theater.
Mm-hmm. True enough. All right, we got anything to plug this week, kids?
Oh shit! I should have mentioned this earlier. I'm headlining the Salon in Providence. Cutting room comedy. The Salon. Cool. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, this Thursday I'll be down there with Angela Sawyer, who's one of my favorite people in comics. So that'll be a good time. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. I'm gonna try to get out there. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to get there.
Very
nice. Good time. It'll be a fun time.
A good show.
Scare some Rhode Islanders.
I'll try to scare up a group.
Yay! I'm so sorry to be. God, no, that's terrible. I'm gonna scare your friends.
No,
it's okay. They're fine.
They got thick skin.
Yeah.
They're a hardy band.
Yeah, but that's gonna be a fun. That's gonna be a fun one.
They saw Dave as a half-naked Sean Connery. They can handle it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
In fact, you will be a marked improvement.
I didn't mean to cackle. I'm sorry. Did I scare the dog?
No, he's fine.
Okay.
He's got the headphones in. He's fine.
No, sorry about that.
Dewey has no idea what's happening. Dave, anything to plug?
Nothing to plug except for the essential truism of that statement. Dewey has no idea what's happening.
All right. I have nothing to plug, of course. I turned down more gigs this week. It's sadly where I'm at in my life now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like you and Kwesi need to chat and do like a support group situation.
Well, we did hang out already.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we're just kind of like, oh boy, we don't miss telling jokes. We're like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, you two are like my favorite dip the toe out dads.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yep. That's just where we're at.
I support your not art. I support your art, but I support your not art, if that makes sense.
I appreciate that. I need to find something to narrate. I feel like that's where my head is at right now. If anyone needs a narrator for something, I'm available. I am completely there. Whatever that narration is, like up to potentially Michael and Dancing at Lunasa. Like I'll be on the side of the stage telling you what's happening on the stage. I could be like the grown-up Ralphie in A Christmas Story, but that's as much as I've got in my heart right now, I think.
I like it.
Where I'm at.
Wait, oh man, How I Met Your. Oh God, what's the newest iteration of How I Met Your Mother from How I Met
Your Father, I believe.
Yeah, but what's the iteration after that?
How Mom Met Your Mother.
Cool.
Would that be the next level?
I guess. Yeah.
Just in terms of progress.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, that's positive. I don't think I'd be called on to narrate it, but yeah.
You could be maybe How I Lost Your Father.
Oh, shit. R.I.P. I don't like that.
That could go back to the Trump thing, too. It could just be a QAnon thing.
Oh, yeah. I could see it.
All right. How do you pronounce it, Dave?
I just said QAnon, and I don't know why, because I've never said it that way. It was weird. I haven't said a lot out loud prior to this call, so...
Don't say it a third time. We might get demonetized. I don't want this episode.
Make sure you hashtag QAnon when you list this one today.
Yeah, absolutely.
God damn it.
It'll be great.
Oh,
They'll
is
love
this
us.
Was this whole episode just a secret cue drop and I missed it just over my head? Okay.
It's, you know what? We got to build the brand.
This thing is littered with clues.
As we approach the Kirstie Alley years, we need to branch out.
Oh boy.
We need to start playing to a different audience.
I mean, R.I.P., but also they need to archive her Twitter. Archive it.
Yeah.
The writer of this episode went on to become a producer, I believe, and definitely like a long-term writer for the first Roseanne show, I believe.
Oh.
It's wild how you can change as you get older, isn't it?
It's really we were talking about it earlier. Sometimes it is possible to change as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
Just not always for the good ways.
Yeah. We need to stay on alert, Dave. We're at that place.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
We need to stay aware. That's all I'm saying. We need to stay aware. We are the vulnerable population.
Oh God. Oh
we
God.
are
Well,
the demographic that turns. We just need to stay on top of it.
Hey, I'm already throwbacks on the radio years old. So I okay. All right. I'm taking it upon myself to be vigilant. If you guys say any,
Thank you.
I'm here to check. I'm here to check.
Please let us know.
Yeah, this is less an artistic enterprise and more of a self-care endeavor where we present ourselves kind of unmasked in front of you for an hour, and then like offline you reach out and be like, "Are you sure you're okay?"
No, I'm a fully formed adult now that I'm throwback on the radio years old, so I'm here to stand watch.
Thank God.
Oh, you have so many good aging milestones ahead of you.
Oh,
it'll be great.
That's a scary
Oh yeah,
thought.
well, like when the first person who's like younger than you is the head coach of your favorite team, that's a trip.
Oh,
actually, you might be there.
Am
How old
I?
is Joe Mazzulla?
He's 34, I believe.
Oh wow,
Not yet.
we're in the same pocket.
Mm-hmm. You're there. You're
Oh
close.
boy. Oh boy. Oh, that's terrifying.
Mm.
Ooh, how did he get that job? The hell was I doing wrong?
You remember what happened to him at that job.
Yeah,
Let's not close it out with that.
yeah, true.
All right. So there's go see Tookie on Thursday. You get to see Dave in the audience, and you get to feel my presence. So that's worth a ticket, isn't it? Go catch that. Stay safe, everybody. We are not here next week because I am going to be away. Sorry about that. So week off, and then we will be back with a very special episode of Cheers. They're in the courtroom where they find love. It's exciting. Until then, I'm Mike. That's Tookie. That's Dave. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.